There's a study done by a Harvard scientist that took a group of men in their 70s and 80s to a monastery north of Harvard. She asked these men for 5 days to pretend that they were 22 years younger, thinking that way, acting that way, and feeling that way. And she put pictures of the Kennedy brothers and Marilyn Monroe and Nat King Cole and Cuban Missile Crisis and magazines and reminded them of being 22 years younger. At the beginning of the study, she measured all these objective measurements and they cut them loose for 5 days. The researchers said at the end of 5 days, she was playing touch football with these men without their canes. She brought them back into the lab and she took all those objective measurements again. Finger lengths were longer, toe lengths were longer, some of them were taller. Their cognition improved by 60%, their range of motion changed. So the question is, who are you pretending to be or who are you pretending not to be? Those men couldn't say, finger lengths get longer, toe lengths get longer, brain work better. They had to become that person.
It sounds really simple, but this is applying an insight from cognitive behavioral therapy around cognitive reframing, where you change the meaning you apply to events to change how you feel about them, and it can be an extremely powerful tool. Here are 4 ways you can respond to your ego and reinterpreting the situation. If your ego says, I made a bad decision, your higher self responds, there was something I needed to learn from this experience. If your ego says, life is so unfair, your higher self replies, life tests me with what I need to learn and grow. If your ego says, I was abandoned and betrayed, your higher self says, this created a space for the right people to come into my life. It sounds really simple, but this is applying an insight from cognitive behavioral therapy around cognitive reframing, where you change the meaning you apply to events to change how you feel about them, and it can be an extremely powerful tool. It's been estimated people on average complain 15 to 30 times a day. What most people don't know is that repeated complaining for the purpose of expressing frustration or seeking sympathy can actually rewire your brain. The more you do it, the more you become likely to fixate on problems and irritations rather than dealing with them, or at least accepting what's beyond your control. While complaining might feel validating, all it really does is keep you stuck in victim mentality. Instead, try flipping the script. Next time the traffic is terrible, instead of defaulting to frustration, ask yourself, what can I listen to that'll make this time worthwhile? Is there someone I've been meaning to call? It's about shifting from a reactive stance to one where you're in control.